Welcome to Red Fracture TV. I, as always, am your host, Sean Chappell. I'm now 6 weeks into my self-employment and I finally found free time in my schedule. My obligations to ArtsPay are nearly over. The initiation into the Starter Company Plus grant program is over. And most of my social engagements are over. The week ahead is finally completely mine. And while I wish that meant I could breathe, I'm still completely swamped and feeling overwhelmed by what I've dished out for myself. I have a ton of irons in the fire, and I'd like to pull most of them out by the end of the year so I can focus on building products for Red Fracture and finding a way to market those products effectively. That at least is the goal. But for now, let's talk about the events of the past week. During a recent meeting at the Small Business Center, I was chatting to the man who was running the program, Rob Clement. I'd mentioned that many people, after having seen my art, found it reminiscent of tattoos and had suggested that I become a tattooist. But since that is not my end game, I haven't pursued the goal. Rob then challenged me on their observations and asked if a qualified tattooist had ever seen my work and given the same appraisal of its qualities. The short answer, no. The suggested action from Rob? Go find out. So I did. I hit the streets and set up meetings with 3 different tattoo parlors in Kitchener to get their opinions on my work. Here's what I learned. 1. My work is similar to tattoos, but not tattoo enough to work as an actual tattoo. The detail is too intense, and without a proper black outline, the design would bleed and become a grody blob in short order. 2. Putting my images on tees is fine, but then putting those tees in tattoo parlors is never going to happen. This, unfortunately, was one of my goals. Turns out that tattoo parlors are very insular, and what they sell in their shops is specific to the shop. Clients buy things to support the shop, not an outside third party. And 3, ultimately, since I'm not a tattooist, selling tattoo-esque items to people in the tattoo industry is more than likely going to be met with scorn and derision from the establishment itself. There's a community there, and I'm not part of it. The impression I received, outsiders, stay out. This may explain why all of my attempts to market my work through social media platforms to tattoo enthusiasts have met with crickets. I'm not part of the community, so I'm getting the cold shoulder. I have a few more interviews set up for this week at tattoo parlors in the Cambridge area, but I'm not really holding my breath at this point about achieving any partnership success stories with them. I won't keep pounding my head against that brick wall. That's what all this is about, though, ultimately, is investigation and pivoting until I find the right path to success. Unfortunately, it may be time to pivot. I would like to say thanks, though, to Wayne from Wonderland Studios. He gave me a full half hour of his time, toured me around his shop, and shot the shit with me about my work and where it might lead. And he didn't charge me a dime. Thanks, Wayne. Much appreciated. An interesting idea that came to my attention this week while sitting in a grant mentoring session was the idea of storytelling. Several people at the table used storytelling in their businesses to assist their clients with finding the right way to present themselves online so that they can connect properly with their clients. Yes, I know that sounds a little confusing. My apologies. It's essentially, though, a long line of business-to-client connections augmented through storytelling. Ultimately, when the Q&A opened up for the session, I asked to get some clarity on the idea of storytelling and how it might assist Red Fracture. The folks at Shopify have already said I should be infusing my website with some of my humor, completing an about page and an FAQ. And the one thought that keeps going around in my head is that Red Fracture doesn't sell paintings, prints, or sketch covers. It actually sells Sean Chappell. Everything on the site is so personal and so hands-on that the one thing they all have in common is me. I'm my product. And do you think I've ever talked about me on my website? Nope. Never had an about page. Rarely done a blog post. In fact, this vlog series right here is the best effort I've ever made to tell the story of me. Ultimately, it made me realize that I'm pretty shit at telling the story, and I need to get better at it. To that end, I've been updating my website. I now have an FAQ and have started a commissions page outlining projects I've been involved with in the past and how my skills will help clients in the future. I've also started investigating what I'm producing and whether or not those things are telling stories. For example, here's the first sketch cover I did. I would consider this to be character design, a creature concept, and nothing more. There's nothing in this image to give the monster context, not even scale, but with that in mind, here, my latest piece here, I've developed a story, or at least I think I have. I'll let you be the judge of that one. In this one, I've set up a relationship between a giant aquatic gelatinous creature sneaking past a lighthouse as it leaves the ocean. It even looks like it's wearing swim trunks, which was unintentional, but comical. I've been able to set up a scale, an interaction with a lighthouse that's missed its mark, and formed the basis for a story. There's more to this than the other, and I plan to continue producing more of this caliber so I can keep telling the story. And that is the perfect place to segue into my weekly advice. Read books. Books are one of the main reasons that I decided to jump from my full-time job into self-employment. 2 years ago, I was introduced to an app called Overdrive. It allowed me to hook into my local library's electronic resources, specifically audiobooks. My day job saw me working alone quite a bit, so I started listening to books instead of the grotesquely repetitive radio. I'd clip my phone right into my welding helmet and either crank the volume or I'd use earbuds when I could. In 2019, I've carved my way through almost 160 books, and last year I was only 4 shy of 200. And many of those were 45-hour Game of Thrones tomes. I was a book reading machine in 2018. Well, at least I was a book listening machine. Game of Thrones aside, though, I started with books on business and books in the self-help genre designed to change my thinking about my life and about my business, allowing me ultimately to change my direction. Most of these were delivered to me in audio format, and if you find yourself strapped for time to sit down with a good book, I'd recommend audio instead. All you have to do is listen. Someone does all the talking for you. Many of them have full casts as well, and sound effects, and you can do other things while you listen. You can work, you can cut the grass, you can paint, you can drive. As long as you've got a small capacity for multitasking, audiobooks might just be your new best friend. And through the Overdrive app, they're free. Over the next little while, I'm going to be bringing some of those titles to your attention and discussing them one-on-one so you can get a better understanding of what you'll find in them and whether or not they're right for you. Consider me to be your personal librarian. And I hope you'll join me because some of them are really fantastic and have reshaped my life. Perhaps they can do the same for you. For now, that is all. Thanks for watching.